my name is Alison Donley. I am a yoga instructor. I've been teaching yoga for over 40 years. I'm an ERYT 500 and continuing yoga education provider for Yoga Alliance. I am here to share meditation with you, and today's meditation will be just a basics, an intro to meditation for those of you maybe who have never meditated or are kind of new to it. So meditation means conscious awareness. It's not hocus pocus. There's nothing mystical or magical about it. It is just the act of being present to be aware of what's happening as it's happening. Meditation is a formal practice. There are definitely formal methodologies to practicing meditation. I draw from a couple of traditions, Vipassana meditation. I have been blessed to have a number of amazing teachers in my years of practicing yoga. I've studied with John Kabat-Zinn briefly. I have received incredible guidance just from the prolific author Stephen Levine, who was a Vipassana meditation instructor. So I will kind of draw on all of those different methods as I share meditation with you from time to time. So thank you for joining me today. Meditation 101. So meditation, again, means conscious awareness. And what we're going to do today is a very simple way of being consciously aware. We're going to sit with our breath. So I invite you to sit up super tall. I'm going to scooch forward on this chair, and I'm also, because it's nice and soft, going to take a cushion, and I invite you to do the same thing at home to elevate your hip and pelvic area so that your knees can drop down below your navel line. That is a much easier way for your hip and pelvis to sit in neutral. What we want to try to avoid is I call it slumping and dumping, sorry, but it just kind of slumping down like this. We want to try to avoid that posterior pelvic tilt that happens when we slump and dump. We also want to try to avoid an anterior tilt to the hip and pelvis. So we want to try to create a very neutral hip and pelvic position. And I want to just preface this meditation today by saying there are times when sitting down and trying to be with your breath feels very difficult. For the times you feel that you want to kind of jump out of your own skin and run away from it because you're feeling anxious, it might be helpful to do a little bit of movement before you sit down to meditate. So I invite you to pause the video and go move around a bit if that would be helpful to you, and then come back when you're ready. But sitting with hip and pelvis in as neutral a position as possible. Feet can be kind of actively pushing into the earth, and an elongation of the spine. We want to create the most stable base, which is getting that, in neutral. Now I invite you to bring your fingers to your shoulders and take a little half of an elbow circle, and that just kind of gets your scapulas, your shoulder blades to stabilize back there. And let's bring our hands lightly in our lap, and go ahead and gently close your eyes if you're comfortable to do so. Now lifting your heart and feeling the heart as it lifts, creating this spaciousness in the chest, creating a relaxation around the neck and shoulders. When you lift your heart, your head tends to pull back where it belongs. And I refer to this as human Jenga a lot. So the head block is stacked beautifully over the shoulders block, which is stacked beautifully over the hip and pelvic block. So feeling the heart lifting, the spaciousness in the chest and shoulders, the head kind of floating nicely above the chest and shoulders. Take a moment to just notice where you feel your natural breath. Some people feel it the best in their nostrils, and some people feel it best in the belly, rising and falling. So I invite you to take an inward dive in there, and let's do a little experiment. So sitting with your breath, just noticing where you best feel it. Let's all try to feel our breath at our nostrils, just for a moment. Can you feel that beautiful ebb and flow of natural breath? Don't try to do anything to change it yet. Right at the nostrils. And you may even feel some intricate things, such as the breath sweeping along the fulcrum, that space between your upper lip and your nostrils. Okay, now pause for a moment, breathe, keep breathing naturally, but let's focus our attention on the movement of our belly, the rising and falling of the belly with natural breath. So go ahead again, I invite you to close your eyes softly. Keep your heart lifting up like it is a lotus flower that is fully blooming. Chest is open, head is beautifully balanced over the shoulders and hip and pelvis. Okay, bringing your awareness to your natural breath at your belly. Feel any movement you feel, any felt sensation in the lungs, in the lower back, and in that gentle movement of your belly with your natural breath. Let's pause again, keep breathing naturally. There may have been one of those places that felt more comfortable to you. You were able to stay more attentive to your breath, perhaps at your nostrils, or more attentive at your belly rising and falling. And in my 24 years of teaching academic yoga, 42 years of teaching yoga, in the probably last 10 years, I started to ask the question a lot. Where do you feel your natural breath? And then I would invite people to keep their eyes closed, and I would say, raise your hand if you feel your natural breath best at your nostrils. And almost without fail, 50% of the class would say they felt their natural breath best at their nostrils. Of course, the other 50 feeling it at the belly. And this may change, but I'm going to encourage you to use this as kind of a tool for yourself as you're going to keep meditating. When you sit down to meditate, or there are other ways to meditate, there are other methods. We'll do walking meditation someday soon. When you begin to when you begin your meditation practice, that is a really simple go-to thing, a little mind trick. Okay, now I'm going to feel my breath, my natural breath, at the place you feel it the best. And that usually is a great kickstart to at least a few minutes of seated meditation. Okay, let's give it a whirl. So I invite you to sit tall. Make sure your knees are below your navel. Your hip and pelvis feel as if they're sitting in a neutral position. Can you create length and strength in the torso? Just a little bit, so the heart lifts open, the chest spreads, and the shoulders relax. Okay, create your human Jenga, head block stacked over, shoulder block stacked over, hip and pelvic block. Let your arms be relaxed, almost heavy feeling in your lap. Go ahead, if you feel safe and supported and comfortable to do so, close your eyes softly. Begin by simply feeling your natural breath where you feel it the best. Now, as you really start to hone in on the feel of your natural breath at either your nostrils or your belly, your mind will probably have other plans for you. It will probably say, okay, this is boring, what's next? Next please, next please. So you observe all the chatter. Observe the mental chatter. Let it be there, don't chase it away. And when you notice that mental chatter coming in to mess with your focusing on your natural breath being felt at your nostrils or your belly, recognize it. And in your head, you might say, thinking, 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 3 times. You're reminding, great word, reminding yourself, yeah, I'm thinking now. Or you might say, with your inside voice, I see you. I see you, anger. I see you, agitation. I see you, boredom, whatever pops up. Feel your natural breath, the ebb and flow of your natural breath, like ocean waves. Feel it at the point that you are most attentive to it, and learn how to stay. I invite you now to just gently open your eyes and check in. The concept of meditation is really simple. Practically speaking, it's very difficult. So, if in that short meditation with breath, just sitting with our breath, your mind went back in the past, it went ahead to the future a number of times, you're normal. That is so normal and common. What we want it to not be eventually is a common thing for you. So it takes practice. Meditation is just like any other thing that we want to embark on to make our lives better. And there's so many reasons to embark on meditation as a way to improve your life. There is so much science behind the benefit of meditation, which I'll get into another time. So watch it happening, try not to berate yourself, and know that you are it's very normal for this to happen, but eventually it will not be a common thing for you to be meditating and your mind is all over the place. We cannot stop thinking. We will stop thinking upon our death. Meditation is not about not thinking. It's impossible while you're alive to not think. The purpose of our meditation is to slow our thoughts down a bit so that we might have a little clarity around our thoughts. We might actually slow down our thinking enough that we open up some space, and in that space we can see ahead of us. We are able to see the path in front of us with a little more clarity, and then we can handle what's on our path. And it might be what's on our path for that next hour, or it might be for the whole day. And people often talk about enlightenment as it, again, it is some mystical or magical thing, but it is really not. It is the ability for you to shine a light of clarity, a clear light ahead on your path. And so I invite you to join me for meditations, and I thank you for your effort in this very first one, Meditation 101, sitting with our breath. I hope you practice. Thank you.